We're selling the entire StoryFire platform for just $1. This is not clickbait, I'm dead serious. If you go into the description below, you will see a link to OpenSea. That is the largest NFT marketplace. That's right, guys, we're selling StoryFire as an NFT.
Well, welcome back, my passive income investors. I like to a Shark Tank style review of why you shouldn't buy StoryFire, or what I'm personally going to call a dumpster fire, quote unquote, not to be mean here, but this is going to be a wonderful lesson today on understanding businesses and something that I've never seen ever done before. So I do got to give credit where it is due, as I have been fascinatingly paying attention to the sale of an actual real social media business that I've thought about jokingly buying just kind of for the giggles of it, guys. But let's get into this and talk about what the heck is StoryFire. Well, just kicking this off, let's zoom out and take a look. This was supposed to be a competitive platform against YouTube when it came to the adpocalypse, and people with more on the border of YouTube violation rule kind of content, with swearing, kind of acting vulgar, you know, just things you can't do on YouTube, and you get flagged, you lose your ad revenue. Well, this was a place where they thought, hey, maybe we could allow YouTubers to post whatever they want here and still try and generate them ad revenue. But in my mind, it already seems like a stupid idea, because YouTube and Facebook have desperately been trying to keep advertisers on their platform and mitigate the terrible content as much as humanly possible. This is not an easy feat to accomplish, and it seems a little daunting if I were to take this on. And just to show you an example of how StoryFire has been doing, well, here's one of the biggest YouTubers out there, Drama Alert, and he posted this video in the last 24 hours, and it has achieved a whopping 224 views. The same video on his YouTube account has done 808,000 views in the same time period. And when I was scrolling around on this, I kind of found it entertaining by how hyped up everybody on the back end running this business have been. Like, people have been losing their mind. They're like, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. We're gonna make all this money. And the neat thing is we're gonna dabble down into this NFT in a second, but I just kind of laughed because he recently posted, as of 17 hours ago, holy fuck! I'm not gonna say that. We just received a big bid for StoryFire, 7,400 Ethereum. How much is that? Jeez, like, guys, do you know how much 7,400 Ethereum is? $3 million. That's a lot of money. Sorry, this is going to be a really over-exaggerated show here, guys, but let me just kind of take a look. Here's the NFT in and of itself. So they are literally posting this business, all the source files, everything about StoryFire in this NFT. You can buy this original clip art and get the passwords, the website, everything about it. But is it a good business to buy? And we're going to get into that. But while we're sitting here, you may have also noticed that where's the 7,200 Ethereum bid from today? Because I only see the $821 bid, and that hasn't even reached 1 Ethereum yet. So I'm curious if that was a joke, a hype joke, serious. I don't know just yet, because when I looked into this business, guys, it's not what you think. And the only way I was able to discover this was by going on this guy's Twitter named McJuggernuggets and finding this stream that they've hid, because they do not show a profit or loss statement. They do not show any Google Analytics or traffic reports, or heck, even the clients or the ad companies they're working with. It's all just frivolously hidden and buried, and they're like, oh, well, maybe if you bid, we'll tell you more. But after listening to an hour-long conversation and breaking it down into 2 minutes, I got everything we need to know right here, folks. Shark Tank style. Consider hitting that like button, and let's get right into this. And I'm sorry, by the way, too, as well, before I click start, just so you guys are aware, they there's a big lag. They did some Zoom thing, and they like their voice audio doesn't line up. So I'm sorry. I know this is going to be brutal to get through. Not the best way of selling a multi-million-dollar business, but here we go.
We are selling StoryFire. We wish it didn't have to come to this, but as you guys know, this situation as of 2 months ago, we were shutting down. We ran out of resources. So instead, I was able to keep it alive, but now it's to the point where we still need money. We're always going to need money to run this company because we don't have the investor support. Right now, the bid is going for $700 some, but everything's denoted in Ethereum, and it was set to a default of 1 Ethereum for the reserve price. So whoever bids 1 Ethereum, which is equal to right around like $1,800, will effectively be winning the auction. All the bids right now are kind of getting us to that reserve price. I think people were thinking that we set it to like maybe $100,000 or $1 million, just so the whole auction is a sham or whatever. But no, this is very real. That reserve price is only $1,800. So whoever bids that, then it becomes very real, and whoever has that bid in it will be the winner if nobody else outbids them in 10 days.
So what do we know here so far? The business is struggling. They need at least one Ethereum for the minimum bid, not the dollar that they were quoting, because I mean his promotion video is such BS just to hype it up. It's kind of an interesting little ordeal here, but they're going to get into the numbers and we're going to get to know a little bit more, which is what I was digging for because that's all I care about. So let's just listen to exactly where they stand.
Brian, Cam asked, what's the monthly cost of running the platform?
Right now it's about between 10 and 12 grand with the usage that we have now and the team that we have now.
And so that's something to factor in, right? Whoever buys StoryFire, obviously if you want to keep it going, then you would need that kind of runway to keep it alive. And then if you want to grow it, then you need even more money. And that's why there could be a possibility that they get the platform and they don't want to pay the maintenance costs. It's like buying a brand new house. You don't realize it costs so much money just for utilities and bills, and then you have to sell the house. So there's a lot of different scenarios at play here, and it's going to be pretty insane these next 9 days to see what shakes down.
So I find this really interesting, guys, because he's comparing this business to a house. The house has maintenance, it has costs, but the funny thing is those costs should be covered by the tenants, the people cash flowing the rent, so you can cover those costs. I don't think that's this kind of business.
Actually, I had a good question here. So we talk a lot about the debt and the bills, though. How does StoryFire make money, and is it profitable? So if somebody was to take control of StoryFire, will they be getting some revenue come in or generating anything?
So we're spending more than we're making. That's how it kind of works with a lot of these companies for a long time. I think Twitter wasn't profitable for the first 10 years or so, right? And we're still pretty new in the space and, working on a sort of a shoestring budget that we had. We're just kind of working on features and retention stuff and just listening to the community and getting what you guys really wanted. So yeah, that's that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, because we talked a lot about like the few $1 million went into development, all this, but StoryFire has generated over 6 figures in revenue over the last 3 years. So and a lot of that really depends on how many creators are making content.
So this is the insanity about not having a profit loss statement, because they're like, well, we've generated 6 figures over the last 3 years, but it's costing you 6 figures a year to maintain. So really, you made $100,000, but it cost you $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 over the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know, but the more I dug into this, guys, the more I was rattled by. I just feel like it's a tax scam. Like if they can sell this thing in the NFT hype and just offload it for Ethereum, they won't pay any tax. They can distribute it to all the owners of the company and let somebody else take on this massive burden. And if you don't believe me, it's a burden here, folks. Let me just explain to you what happens if you have 2 or 3 million. Because going back in here, the guy said somebody bid 7,400 Ethereum, and I just can't wrap my mind around that, because nobody is going to spend $3 million. And again, if Ethereum sits between 1,800 and 2,000, guys, that's over $3 million if you convert it back to USD. But the crazy thing is I can just go on Empire Flippers, and I implore you, if you have $3 million, instead of buying a business that is imploding, that you're literally going to use as a trophy, as something cool you bought, because there's no way you're going to sustain a $12,000 run rate every month with barely any income, when you can just go onto Empire Flippers, search, $3 million businesses like we have right here. And if I spend $2.5 million on this outdoors website, I could immediately be making $61,000 in the coming month. Heck, what about food and beverage, a dating website, guys? I could own a dating website for $2.7 million that will already make me, after expenses, $56,000 a month in income. Holy crap, 3 million goes a long way when you're looking at real businesses that cash flow, because I have never been able to sell or even waste my time talking about a business that doesn't generate a profit. Imagine taking this business and walking into Shark Tank. He would get laughed out of the stage.
I think this is a liability nightmare. You don't have any claims that you can back up, so I'm out.
So I'm kind of frustrated and annoyed, because I'm like, this is the most unique idea I've ever seen. Selling a business through an NFT. No brokers, no bullshit, no escrow, no nothing. You could literally just do this really interesting way of a bid on a business and have it all transferred through the blockchain, which is kind of cool. I like the idea of it. And I was like, damn, I've never seen anything like this in my life. But the more I dug into it, the more my heart breaks. But again, you could be buying into a business with all these big YouTuber connections that could be fruitful if you just dissolve the business and try and keep the connections. I don't know, maybe you could think around it if you have some unique ideas, but please to God, don't be spending that much Ethereum on this business unless you really know what you're doing. But I passed the question off to you. What do you guys think about this whole idea? What do you think about this business? And I'm hoping this is not the only one that does this, because damn, this is just such an interesting world we live in. But stay cool, stay awesome. I look forward to catching you tomorrow.